Welcome to solverfy.
For this problem, we are told that the percentage of women physicians is 27.9%, and that a study is done with a sample size of 120, with a result of 45 of those 120 physicians studied. 45 of them were women physicians. So to start, we have to identify our claim and our hypothesis. So the null hypothesis, or the claim, is that the true proportion of women physicians at the university is equal to 0.279. And the alternative is that the proportion is actually, this question specifically, we are looking at whether or not the proportion of women at the university as physicians exceeds or is greater than 0.279. So that's part A. For part B, we are told that we're using an alpha level of 0.05. So now we need our critical value for that. If we were to go into our calculator and use the inverse norm feature, since this is one-sided, since it's only greater than, we just put 0.05 as the area, 0 is the mean, 1 is the standard deviation, and we get a critical value of 1.64, plus or minus. No, not plus or minus, just plus. Because we're looking at greater than. So for the next thing, we need to find our test value, or z. But to do that, we need to find p hat first, or sample proportion. To find our sample proportion, we take x over the sample size. So we have x is 45 and the sample size, n, is 120. 45 over 120. You can put that in your calculator, and you end up with 0.375. Now you need to find the z value, and z is equal to the sample proportion minus the expected or claimed proportion all over the standard deviation given by the square root of the proportion times 1 minus the proportion, also known as q, over the sample size. So we have 0.375 minus 0.279 all over square root of 0.279 times 1 minus 0.279, which is 0.721, all over 120. And we end up with a z value of 2.34. Now we need to look and decide whether or not this is significant or not. So we'll use a normal curve, a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1. Now we plot our critical value, which is 1.64. I'm putting that as red. It's positive 1.64, however. And next we'll put our test value, which is 2.34. Just about here and above. Now we can find our p-value, so the probability that C is greater than or equal to 2.34. If we put that in our calculator, we find that the p-value is 0.026. So now we summarize our findings. And we can conclude that since the test value falls within the critical bounds and since the p-value of 0.026 is less than the alpha level of 0.05, we reject and have enough evidence to conclude that this university, that Atlas University, or that, and I had wrote above this context of the proportion of women physicians at the university. And I'm just going to, just as a shortcut for myself, just going to put context here. Does exceed 27.9%. And that's all for this problem. So we have our claim and our hypothesis. We have found the critical value, the test value. We've looked at the data, compared it to the critical value, and decided, and we summarized.